In this video, I'm going to go through more complex yield farming strategies for ETH and STEEF. So the basic thing is if you have already Ethereum and you want to hold it, but you want to also accrue rewards over time, the best thing you can do is, of course, run your own node, your own validator, and have that around 5% per year by the proof of stake mechanism, by staking. Second best thing is if you don't have that, you can go with one of the liquid staking solution that's either Lido or Rocket Pool, and I'm going to go with Lido here because if you go with Lido, you will have some interesting options as well, and you can go actually beyond that 5%. Of course, everything here is risky, not financial advice. Do your own research, purely educational. So let's get started. After you basically stake with Lido, you have a couple of options to leverage your position and have even more rewards. One of them is Aave, so the standard liquidity protocol. Actually, they started accepting STEEF, so Lido, Ethereum, as a way to as a collateral, so you can borrow against your STEEF if you have any. And for example, borrow more DAI to buy Ethereum. So you can leverage your STEEF just as you would with ETH. The only difference is that STEEF, of course, accrues over time, which is pretty cool options here. Now, a more complicated way to actually get more rewards is to go with Curve. You might know Curve already because they're super famous for their free pool, where you have 3 different stables in a pool and you can accrue value with that. The second most popular pool right now for yield farming with Curve is STEEF, where you have both Ethereum and staked Ethereum from Lido. This is the most common one. As you can see, the TVL, so the values here are 1.5 billion dollars, which is really massive. So you can go with STEEF and you can deploy your ETH and STEEF here to get more rewards coming from the Curve. And on top of that, if you don't want to deposit with STEEF, with Curve, you can deposit with Convex, and Convex is basically boosted Curve staking. So for now, doing that with Curve and Convex is a little bit less risky than the solutions I'm going to show you right away, but it gives you still a couple of percent more with new tokens coming from, for example, Convex with CVX. Now, if you want to really go degen yield farming, the option is to actually leverage your position. You can do that not only with Aave, because with Aave you just put your STEEF and take out more, for example, to buy ETH, but you actually can leverage your Curve position. So if you have already Curve token, you don't deposit that to Curve again, you just have that yield token, and then you can deposit that to either Sturdy Finance or oasis.app, and I'm going to tell you about both right away. So both Sturdy and Oasis allows you to leverage your STEEF positions pretty easily, and actually Sturdy allows you to use your LP tokens as a collateral. So if you go to Sturdy, sturdy.finance, then you'll be able to see the Ether market. And if you go to assets to deposit, you will see that you can deposit actually Curve ETH STEEF LP. And on top of that, you can leverage your position. So having leverage on this kind of positions is a little bit like having leverage on Aave, but thanks to that being a position on Curve, you actually can gain much more APYs. You actually leverage the fact that you're staking on Curve and you produce up to 9 times more rewards. So you can get up to like 51% per year, which is pretty hardcore. However, this is also super risky. In this kind of position, once you deposit here and leverage your Curve position, you'll get liquidated if the price of ETH or STEEF will go below a certain price. So it's really like leveraging the ETH and the price of ETH. So if you want to be on a safe side, you either don't want to have any leverage on or your leverage have to be like really minimal to make sense of that. Unless, of course, you start that in a bear market like right now, and you're really careful with how much leverage you put on. So that's one solution, Sturdy Finance. The cool thing to mention here is that Sturdy will also come with a token. They have announced that in January this year, and of course, the token will be distributed to all the users that will use the app. So if you want to just check it, please do. Right now is a good time if you want to go for the crypto airdrop here. They are backed by the best, really interesting selection of different VCs. So that's Sturdy Finance, the second app that allows you to multiply your position and leverage this kind of mechanism where you have Steve and Eve is Oasis app. And on Oasis you can do a bunch of things, but basically the same mechanism is also available here, where you can first of all leverage Steve, but you can also leverage your position in Steve Eve, Aave, so you can also play around with the pool on Curve as well. Let me find that for you. I think that was Steve, that was around here. So if you go to see all the products here that you can multiply, you have, for example, Steve on Maker. You can go with wrapped BTC also to multiply that position and basically pull the average on those, or you can earn more on various positions as well. So this is super interesting. And again, be careful with the leverage that you're putting in, because once you leverage, it's much harder to hold the positions. If you're not leveraged, if you're just on spot, then nothing bad can happen really. Of course, the price can go down, you have impermanent loss, but with leverage, you can get completely liquidated and go to zero. This is not possible if you just use Curve to stake. So if you're going for those kind of solutions that you want to, for example, multiply the leverage you have on Aave, or just go with Aave directly and do a bunch of time like supplying Steve, borrowing more ETH to buy Steve to get, again, put it there, or borrow DAI to borrow USDC to buy more ETH, then basically you have to remember that there's a certain limit and you might get liquidated to zero. And you don't want to do that, of course. So this is it. This is it when it comes to more complex yield farming for liquid staking, for Lido. Pretty cool solutions, especially if you're looking for additional gains. Of course, remember the saying, don't pick pennies before the steamroll, which means that sometimes it's totally not worth it, because often the volatility in crypto, even in major assets like ETH, is so high that you're just fine holding, and you don't want to have this even additional 10% yield per year. It's not worth it. If you have too much of the leverage, and you can get liquidated, because often holding might give you better results. But nevertheless, I really liked what I found with Sturdy and Oasis, wanted to mention that. And of course, Convex, Curve are well-known DeFi solutions, which are also worth remembering, trying. So have fun doing DeFi. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more DeFi protocols, new blockchains, new crypto airdrops, new NFT collections, and much more. See you in the next video.